What's going on, guys? Happy happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, guys. Today I just wanna talk about something, with all the controversy that's going on with Kanye West, with him saying that Michael Jordan, sacrificed his son, they sacrificed his mother and all that. It's always been a conspiracy theory that a lot of you know, these artists sacrifice them souls to the darkness in order to acquire fame, to acquire riches and the fame. Those who are acquainted with the Bible knows that the devil tempted Jesus, or Yahweh, the African name, when he came out of the wilderness 40 days, 40 nights, and brought him all high and tried to convince him that he'd give him all things, all the glory of the world, if he just bowed to him and, offered him money, all types of things. So I'm going to react to this video of this guy talking about this. Let's get started.
Of what's happening maybe in your life or on the streets or in politics or whatever, what have you. So yeah, that's how we began, and people really took a liking to the sound, and through that, obviously companies see the opportunity to advertise and affiliate themselves with what's cool. So that's that was part of the business.
That's how you got now the interest of these people.
Yeah. Yes.
So how was it like because you, in your testimony, I have seen before how in the middle of your career in music you almost got initiated into the dark world.
Yes.
How was that like for you? Who approached you? Okay, you don't have to mention names, but how was it that like for you?
I think in fact I can talk about something that happened to me while I was in New York that I never spoke about, that I've never even testified about. But
I want you guys to pay attention right here. He's about to go in detail on how he met someone that he became fond of, and they introduced him to someone not certainly in the industry, but who maybe industry people go to get things done for them in order for them to be successful. So I want you guys to pay attention.
While after I released Compare and I started really touring, I was, touring in Tanzania. And then I came back to Kenya, and then I flew to the States just to do tours and music concerts and things like that. And to connect with U.S. artists, as many as I could, because that was my goal at the time, to be successful in the music industry. Because I had not yet learned what the music industry is really about. I thought it was about, doing good music and just the hype, And hey, I was so hyped up. I was so hyped. So I got back to the States because I had grown up there, So, but through music, I went back again. So I'm back in the States, I'm doing concerts, I'm doing shows, and because of these concerts and shows, I'm gaining some recognition while I'm there. So I'm starting to meet with artists in the US. So mostly hip-hop and R&B artists, and there's a big thriving industry there. So there's a lot of money to be made. There's a huge market and worldwide influence and all of those things that I was looking for. So, but while I was in New York is when, I met a certain lady who I was dating at the time. Her name was Crystal. So Crystal listened to my music.
Now, he said, this guy's from Kenya. And he said while he's in New York, he met somebody. We all know that if you want to be successful, you either go to New York or LA or Atlanta. These are the meccas for music. So he met a woman. So we got to ask ourselves, was this woman sent to him? Or let's just think about it before we go further. But he met someone who introduced him to this, to the dark side. So let's keep it moving.
She was like, and she was half Jamaican and half Italian. So she was, very interested in my music. She was like, she listened to it and she was like, "Wow, you can get a record deal. You can really blow up." I was like, "Yeah, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing."
That's what you're looking.
Yeah. So she said, "But I know why you haven't got it yet, because I was going for meetings. I was meeting like some very high profile people. I was at J Records. While I was at J Records, Tyrese was there. Like I was meeting with like really cool musicians. Really established names, and having meetings with the record companies that signed them. And at that time, like I think some of these record deals were like 2 million. Now it's even more.
Yeah.
But you could get just a signing bonus was like 2 million US.
Dollars.
So yeah. So I was going for the gold. Then she said, "I know why you haven't gotten a deal yet. You need to come with me." And so she took me to a guy who, he was dressed in all white. He was some kind of a priest. And she said,
So I want to stop here real quick. So here is this woman that he met in New York, which I don't think was by accident. He doesn't have a deal. He said in the beginning he's vibrant. He's alive. He's hype. He want music. He loves music. He wants he just wants to engage in what music has to offer, the fun part. Here is this woman that he met who says, "Oh, I know why you haven't made it, why you don't have a deal, and why people don't know about you is because this." And here he says she took him to some guy who was dressed in all white, who was a priest. So let's just think about this guy. So why would you need to go to someone like a priest to help you get a deal? Wouldn't you go to a record executive and show them and play your music or sell your CDs out your cars and to people who you see walk by? So off the break, this sounds kind of fishy to me. So you got to be careful, guys, who you allow in your life, men and women. You just never know who they may introduce you to. Let's keep it moving.
She said that once this guy has baptized you, or this guy will pray for you, and you'll be and things will start popping. Meaning things will start happening
For you.
Yeah.
Is this person like on the earth, like?
Yeah. He's a real person. He's a real person, but he practices a kind of religion called Santeria. So
Casting spells and all of that.
Yes. Those. It's one of the many gates of the kingdom of darkness, put it that way. So Santeria and like all these guys, Palo Mayombe, and those are ancient Yoruba. They come from West Africa, kind of occultic thing.
So I want to start right here. So a lot of people may disagree with what this man is saying, because a lot of West Africans practice the Orishas and things like that, and they may say that people just don't understand it because of the European has demonized the African way, and a lot of Africans just worship a white Jesus. I don't know too much about it to speak on it, so I don't know, but I do know that a lot of Europeans, or the European, definitely has kind of created the narrative of the African way. That's evil, that's voodoo, that's demonic. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about this.
And so that was the gentleman that she introduced me to. So he happened to have a store in New York, and in his store he had all kinds of things, books about dreams, books with spells, books with interpretations of dreams and things like that. He had candles everywhere. There was candles.
I'm gonna stop right here. He said this man had books of dreams and spells and things like that. Interpretation of dreams. At the end of the day, we all know that the Most High, that the Lord speaks to us through dreams. You got the story of Joseph. He was a dreamer. The Bible says that Joseph was a dreamer, and God spoke to him through dreams. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't consider that as being demonic because, people have dreams and, and they interpret their dreams. I mean, that's in the Bible. The Pharaoh, when Abraham went into Egypt and his wife, his Sarah was beautiful, but he didn't want the king to know that Sarah was his wife because he was afraid that he would kill Abraham and take his wife. So he said, well, let's tell him you're my sister. And then the Pharaoh thought that was his sister. So he married Sarah, but then God came to the Pharaoh in a dream, said, if you marry this woman, I will kill you. And then he went to Abraham and told Abraham, why did you lie to me? You almost had me, got me caught up, or almost had me, to give away my righteousness because I took a wife who was already married. So God speaks to us through dreams. So I wouldn't, I kind of, I'm mixed on this, but let's continue.
There was candles with pictures of Saint Mary, Saint Paul, Saint Teresa, just names that I'd never even heard of. There were money candles, there were candles for love, and there was candles for relationships, and there's candles for favor, and all kinds of stuff. That today I know is witchcraft, but in those times I didn't know what all this stuff was about. And so I met the gentleman, and I told him what I'm trying to do, and he said, those are easy. He told me it's easy.
It's easy.
Yeah, he said, that's easy, we can do that for you. At the time, I didn't make the connection, like, what does this guy have to do with music? This guy is not in the music industry. Yeah. He's not a record label owner. He's
just a random person.
Yeah.
He's
a priest.
That's a very good question. What does this priest has to do with music? I mean, he has a lot to do because at the end of the day, if he is who he say is, if he is a priest of Satan, we all know that behind the scenes that Satan runs the music industry. So at the end of the day, you wouldn't go to a music executive. You would go to the chief musician, which would be Satan, to get a deal. So he's questioning, like, okay, why am I at this store when I, talking about the girl who he was dealing with at the time, introduced him instead of going to, like I said, why aren't you going to a music exec? Why aren't you going to a studio? Why aren't you going to another singer and give him your CD to put you on or to sign to the label, but you going to a priest? So that's kind of suspicious right there. But is it though, guys? Is that suspicious? Because you have people who go to church on Sunday, they go up to the pastor and pray, Pastor, I applied for a job. Pray over me, that I get this job. What do you guys think? Is it a catch-22? Is it a double standard? Is it a contradiction? Let me know in the comments.
You to maybe bring some money or anything
He didn't even mention money. He just said, come. You just come as you are, and we'll pray for you. And I guess the prayer involves some kind of baptism. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it looked really, if you looked at the candles and the things like that, it looked really Catholic, because in the Catholic Church you have those, you have a lot of Saint Mary, type of things, not knowing that Saint Mary has nothing to do with Christianity. They're worshiping the goddess of heaven. They're worshiping the so-called Queen of Heaven. So it's a goddess that they worship. Mm-hmm. They're really into goddess worship, and it is predominant even today.
Did you know?
Sorry, guys.
Hold on. That starting an ATM business is not only more profitable than investing in real estate, but it actually costs.
Dominant even today. In the U.S., there's a lot of goddess worship. If you look at the Statue of Liberty, she's standing holding a light of illumination. That's the God they worship. It's not just a statue. It's not a symbol of liberty. It's the God that they worship. Okay, that's the Queen of Heaven that they worship. Or also known as Columbia. So, but at that time I didn't know these things. But I think God wanted me to go through these stages so that as you go through, you learn certain things, and then you're able to reflect and say, "Oh wow, I saw these things."
Yes.
So He wanted to initiate me really into the brotherhood. And from there, you just see doors opening for you. Things, you make a slight effort, and the doors open like 10 times more than the effort you put in. Mm-hmm. So I told him that I was going to think about it and then come back because I had a gut feeling.
So he says that, I'm sorry, guys. He said, you know, this guy prays for you, he introduced you to the brotherhood and doors to open up for you. I'm not sure who is he talking about, if he knows anyone on who this happened for, because here he says he hasn't done anything yet. So I'm kind of confused about who was he talking about, who doors would open up to, if he had any personal experiences, if he knew anyone who maybe did a ritual or something like that. So he doesn't really clarify here, but let's continue.
Okay, this is deep because in his shop, right there on the counter, there was what we call the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper is it's a skeleton that is covered in a black robe, and it's holding a sickle. You know what a sickle is?
With the sharp pointed.
Yeah, with the sharp pointed sword at
Yeah.
the top. Yeah, it's a harvesting tool, right? So the Grim Reaper is standing on the counter just next to the cash register, and from the top to the bottom of that sickle are dollar bills tied. So I'm wondering, okay, this is really deep. This is like a Halloween type of.
I will say I do find that interesting that a Grim Reaper, you know, statue who carries a sickle has, you know, dollar bills tied to the end of the sickle. You know, when you watch these movies and things like that, usually the Grim Reaper is the one who's coming at the end to take your soul at the end, you know, when you're about to pass, when you're about to die. So, I mean, whatever what the meaning was that this Grim Reaper had dollars attached to his sickle, I guess that can be interpreted many ways. Let me know what you guys think.
stuff. Like, what does this stuff have to do with music? You know, because I came here to
Still
do
don't get
music.
the connection.
Yeah, so I was thinking, and then the person who brought me is somebody, you know, that I like. It's somebody that, you know, we're really enjoying time together and stuff. So I'm wondering, what am I, you know, what is the connection of all of this? So, but that's a lot of the times that's how people get brought in. Like a guy will be initiated, will be brought in by a lady who he's probably in a relationship with, or a lady will be brought in by a guy, or vice versa.
Yeah.
So that's interesting what he said. Usually initiation always starts with you meeting someone and they introduce you, because anything, I mean, any group or any, you know, I don't want to say, I say cult, any group you have to be initiated in, a fraternity you have to be introduced. Whether it's a man or woman, you have to be introduced. And, you know, here he's saying that it was the woman who he liked, who's obviously he was physically attracted to, who introduced him to this priest who he felt like was practicing dark magic or practicing the arts of Satan, you know. So let's continue.
Yeah, it's usually it seems very organic. Yeah, it's not
Innocent.
full. Yeah, it's very smooth. So I told this gentleman, the Santeria priest, that I would think about it, because I'm looking at the Grim Reaper, I'm looking at the stuff in this shop, and the feeling is just like the place felt weird, you know. I was like, okay, I'll think about it. And then to make it really look like I'm really interested, I even bought some books. So I took like 3 or 4 of the books and I bought them. And then I went with him, and he was like, yeah, he'll be
He's
back.
coming back,
He'll
yeah.
be back, yeah. So I carried them with me. And not knowing that, you know, once you carry those things into your house, you really give the devil
A doorway.
a doorway to come in, because those are his things, you know. So you're not supposed to have anything that belongs to him or wear anything that belongs to him. Why? Because you're giving him permission to come in. Those things are consecrated to him. So I brought those things in the house. I didn't know. I just, you know, threw them on the side and kind of like, I knew I was not going back there, but I did not know I had opened the door at the same time. So I think it was the following day.
Real quick, guys. He said he bought the books from the man's store. He was selling some books. So obviously, he was interested in something. Do you think he bought the book because he just wanted to support the store, or he bought the books because he had a urge to read the books and learn about what was in the books? What do you guys think?
I mean, 24 hours had not even passed. and I was in the washroom, and I heard a voice very loud and clear, and it spoke to me in a very New York accent, in a very American, but with a very deep bass. And he told me, he said, "What do you need? You need a record deal? You want money?
What?
You want fame? What do you want? I have all of that. I can
were
give it to
alone
you."
in the house?
And I was alone. Crystal was upstairs. I was downstairs. I was in the bathroom. It spoke loud and clear. And what really made me know that I'm not hallucinating or I'm not imagining this is that the voice came from all 360 degrees. Like you can tell when somebody is speaking to you from the left side, you
Just-
turn
yeah.
left. Yeah.
I'm gonna stop real quick, guys. What do you think about this? Because you telling the truth. I've had a situation. I don't want to say similar to this happened to me, but I had a situation when I was a kid where a voice did come and speak to me. It was in another language, but I didn't understand. I was in the bed with my mom. My mom couldn't hear it, only I could hear it, and I was terrified. So I can, relate to his story about he hearing this thing that came talking to him, but it was like 360, and it came from all corners. So I can test through my situation that some stuff like that may happen. It may have happened to him. What do you think?
Or from the right side, you'll turn right. This voice came from 360 degrees all around me. So it's not like a particular direction I could look.
Were you scared?
I was just, I won't say I was scared, but I was alarmed. I was like, oh, this is real. So yesterday, in other words, in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, yesterday, whatever I was doing, that thing was real. So, he kept speaking, he kept telling me, trust me. He was trying to tell me, trust me, I can give you everything you're looking for. And in hindsight, when I remember,
I'm gonna stop right here. Those who are biblically versed, kind of sounds familiar. I talked about it earlier about when Satan went to tempt Christ, when he fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and he came out of the wilderness, and offered him all the wonders of the world if he would just bow to him. So this kind of sounds familiar. How many of y'all think that these industry artists go through this, that they are promised these things for fame, fortune, and in the end, they pay for it? What do you guys think?
I take into consideration how Satan approached Jesus and told him, I have control of all this,
Sure.
the empires of the world, the money systems, the political systems, the governmental system, the justice system. I control everything, and I can give it all to you if you want.
Worship.
Yeah, but Jesus told him no. And this same devil, he approaches a lot of people. It's not just me. It's not just Jesus. He's approached quite a few people, and a lot of these people have said yes.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. And you see them having money, power, and influence, and promoting policies or promoting lifestyles that are anti-Christ. So I didn't speak back. So I didn't speak back to that spirit because I just knew that this is wrong. This is evil. This thing is not supposed to be talking to me. And I figured that it was because I had brought those books into the house that the thing had a legal right to come in. And it came in with the books, and it followed us the whole time. It was just now speaking. So it had been watching us and just waiting for an opportunity to speak, to test the waters, to see what I would do. So I ignored it. I didn't speak on it, and I've never really told anybody since.
What do you guys think about this, guys? Have you guys ever experienced a similar situation? Not necessarily selling your soul to be in the music industry, but just a situation where something, supernatural's happened like that to you, where something started speaking to you. Let me know what you guys think about that. Here he's very calm. He said he just ignored the voice. Do you think that was a figuratively of his imagination or something, and he just ignored it? That was something that was speaking to his conscience. What you guys think?
that day. But right after that, I began making plans to leave this chick because I was like, this lady is deep in some stuff, and she's trying to pull me into that. And to me, it wasn't. I felt that this has nothing to do with music. I had not yet made the connection that this is music. This is the industry. This is the business.
Yeah.
The business is darkness. It is the kingdom of darkness. It is Satan. It is Baphomet worship and the worship of devils.
I mean, I will have to definitely agree with him on that. The industry is definitely wicked, and you have to be careful, guys. Those of you who are aspiring actors and aspiring musicians, be careful, guys, because you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? Is it worth your soul in the end? You know what I'm saying? Because you have to give something to get something. And what are you willing to give? Are you willing to give your soul? So be careful, guys. At the end of the day, a group of wicked people control this industry. So be careful for you inspiring artists and actors and musicians and basketball players. Be careful. Be very careful.
It is Freemasonry blended with music to advertise Freemasonry, which is satanic, which is advertising Satanism and witchcraft and things like that. And so what they are doing is really, they use what's cool to attract the masses. And the masses believe that, this is just my favorite celebrity. But, your celebrity is doing things behind the scenes that he's not telling you about. Yeah. And like I told you, I hate it when people hide things and then come out in front of the public and act like there's something else. When we know very well behind the scenes, you're bowing down and worshiping this thing with a goat head and the body of a human being, or it's not even a body of a human being, it's a body of a mixed of a male and female. This is like a disgusting thing that they're bowing down before. But because this thing is giving them money, this thing is giving them power and fame, they're willing to betray humanity because of the things that they want. So, to be a real celeb, you have to be incredibly cold-blooded. You have to be very selfish, and you can't care about the fans who love you so much.
Wow.
And
I'm gonna stop right here, guys, and I'm gonna post a full link in the chat. But I just want to show you guys some most of this Baphomet who we talking about with a goat head and all that. It's not far-fetched. This guy is not far-fetched. He's not off. They're actually trying to put these things in the schools. A Satan club. Show you guys real quick. We're getting to the point, guys, of give me 1 second, guys. We getting to the point of just want to show you guys something. So here is a CBN article. It says parents furious as after school Satan club comes to a California school. They want kids to worship Satan. Guys, we head in the end of days, guys. We're headed to the end of the days. They allow this, but they won't allow the Bible in the schools. I find that very interesting. So we got to be careful. And this is in California. I think that they even a school in Virginia also, I think, is trying to host a after school Satan club, saying that the kids have the right to do that. Like I said, guys, for you guys that got kids, man, we living in times beyond, that we living in crazy wild times, guys. Times are getting worse. So don't let your kids join those Satan clubs. If you're trying to become an artist, be careful. What are you willing to give? It's not worth your soul, guys. We're on this earth for a short period of time, and in the end, we got to meet our maker. So don't sell your soul, guys. Don't sell your soul. Comment, subscribe, hit this like button. Let me know what you guys think.